Hi, Roland. Awesome work, you say, but I think it's awesome is my English is not so good, but it's crazy what she has done. Um, Eclipsing, I don't know, but the cool thing with the book, I took a lot of pictures. I just passed by 10 minutes, and so here I have a lot of pictures. The cool thing is that you have pictures from houses. This is Johannes and Carolina's house in Lillhällsjön. It's a painted picture. Uh, then you have Johannes and Carolina with the youngest daughter Maria. The only known picture of Johannes and Carolina together. It would be have taken in the 1900. So, and she thought they go to a photographer. They didn't have iPhone then, I think. And you can see here she has a lot of text. And what's problem is that you have church books. For example, I'm in a church book right now, and this is from the 757. And now it's getting difficult to read. So this is scanned church books in something called Arkiv Digital. And you can see those here is Sunne. That's another part in Värmland. Then you go to back, this is from 708. And it's difficult, and the question is how much can you trust it. What she has done, which I think is magic, then you have congregation records, then you are in front, then you have moving in, moving out. In Sweden you lived in a in a house like this, and what happened then, no, I'm not an expert on this, but then you have here you have household examinations. So 708, this person, which I can't read, he was 3 times or 4 times the priest came, and then they checked all those things here. Normally it's how good you can read, if you could explain what you read, and if you understood it. Normally, what I've heard is people went 2 3 hours to school or something like that. You have to stay at home. I think in 1900 there was first time you had to go to school. So if the parents thought you have to be out working on the farm, then you were out working on the farm. So, and children was something you, if you didn't have money, you sold them, or someone could buy them and give you some money for them, and it was crazy. Is my understanding. Uh, so it's a different age. But then you have the church here, the examination record. So this is 5 years. And if you check up here to the right, you can see it's from 708 to 717. So that's one excellent source. So the sad thing was that the priest tried to get in control of the community, and so on. And here we have households book, and then, as I said, congregation records until 1940. And what we have in Swedish, that we have a rule saying books older than 70 years are not available. So next book question is, so what you can do if you have this magic tool, then you can go to this place, and then this is a national register for the all books and so on, archives in Sweden. Sweden is still organized. And then you have in some English, kyrkoarkiv, I thought I changed. It's English. The English has a lot of Swedish. Then you have husförhörslängder, that's examination records. And then you can see what are available. And the one we looked into was that one. And then there are available books until 1895. And you saw the green one. So they are available. And then we have församlingsböcker. And I think that was until 1969. But the only one available is, this 49 is maybe scanned. We can see what we had in this other tool. 2140. So yes, this is the latest available, and this plus 70 years or something like that, then this will be available and so on. So that's the problem. So this will take until 2040 to be available. So this is one source, but then you also have in this tool, which the only one I use, you have moving in, moving out record, which means in the 1895, when you have to move from one parish to the next, the priest has to write down certification, or what you say, that this person has no problem with children or debts and so on. So then you could move to the next parish. Crazy thing was that, so here you can see this person moved in from a parish called By. Oh, no, utflyttning, this moving out. So this person is going to North America. Anna Matilda Svensson. Don't know what that is. So she lives in By on page 1130. And going to North America. Emigrations, it says. North America. So now we're in 1900. Then it was getting cheaper to go to the States. And a lot of people left. And Värmland, where we are now, they are crazy. You see, North America, North America, North America. Oops. And this is the birth date. So you can see this is 95. So they are 22 years old, 20, 20, 25. So it's most young people going to the States. 76, yeah, 2020. This is a little bit older than. This is Vika, so then they are moving to another parish. This is also moving out. So you get the number here, you see, for the year. Back to your question. And then moving in, moving out, then you have birth books. So then you have stamps in the books. When you get born, when you die, you have death records also down here. And when you're married. So that's Swedish genealogy. Rather straightforward. Here they have a test to migration. So here is the paper you got. And the funny thing was, if you moved inside Sweden, then you couldn't move if you didn't have this paper to the next place. When you moved to the States, people thought they needed this, but in the States they didn't care. So then here you say, wife Ida Maria Svensdotter, I think it's the same woman, born, if she has what you call vaccine, baptized, she's not baptized. If she is confirmation, I think you say, when you're 15 years old, you go and learn something and have a exam. No, you don't have an exam. No, you just get present. And this is if she's married, and she's married in the church of, and she's moving and so on. And if they have done the military. And here is if you can trust them or not. And that's, I think, the big thing. And here we have another, if he could read well, and he could read, and he has approved knowledge about Christianity. And he's moving to North America. And he is free for marriage. Free for marriage. Not what's called vaccine. I don't know what you call when you get for polio or something like that. Försvaret, he's reading, can read, but well, not the best. Försvaret, yeah. So here we are in the 1900s, then most people can read. What you can see is, I think people sign, this is just the priest signing, but then you can see if they can write or not. Here is someone, what happened also, this is 1900, hemmansägare, he's owning a house or something like that. And he is free for marriage, but he doesn't have this paper. between those dates. So then that's not good, because then he was in North America. But life was tough there. What you have in this book, which is magic, is that she has also started reading the parish meeting protocols. And then you get, I'm not so good on genealogy, but then you get the stories. So here, if you can read this, please let me know. And she has been reading this stuff. And here you have the stories, when she moved between places and so on. And I've been doing genealogy rather a lot the last 1 or 2 years. And I think that the name dropping, I have a relationship to a blacksmith from the 1500, and I feel it's, yes, interesting. And the reason is because blacksmiths was high profile occupations. They had books on it, and I think it was just the son who could be the blacksmith, not everyone else, and so on. So that's the reason they are documented so well. If a normal farmer is not documented, and I think she writes the same here in. She writes the story about when they sold the house and so on, and what she has found out. And here is Maria Pettersson, dotters Fisk. And then you have this crazy thing. This is a way of annotating things. And then it says Maria Pettersson born. If you were looking for finding your roots, then you should have this book. Born, dead in child when getting a child 1878. So then she is just 35 years in Persberg, Färnebo. Relation with Erik Johan before marriage, and he was born 1833 in Färnebo. In the household record, it says that he has, I don't understand this. When he was 10 years old, he could hela dubbla katekesen. Maybe he could the Bible outside in. It was a comment then in the household book. His father is Jonas Svensson, born in Torpare, and so on. Here we have Johan Edvin Hornkullar, born 1871 in Persberg. Bevaring is that he was a soldier 1892, moved from Färnebo to North America the 10th May 1895, where he came on the ship, the Paris, from Southampton to 25 of May, unmarried, and he was at an age of 23 years and 8 months. The trip over to the States started in Gothenburg and planned arrival to Duluth in Minnesota. The trip was done together with 5 other young people from Färnebo. And then you have a hemvändare. So that means that he has been over in the States and came back. What happened? And I can see that we have a lot of immigration now, which is maybe a big problem. And then you send one person, and then the rest of the family come afterwards. And this person came home, and then other people follow with him. So, and I have read some good books in Swedish about immigration, and Chicago was 1900 the second biggest city in the States, and most people knew someone in Chicago, but maybe not in the biggest town in Sweden, Stockholm. So it was easier to send the children to Chicago. So here you can see one went to Duluth, the other one to Chicago. And in Chicago, if you get information how good people spoke English, I think that's interesting. What I read in the books is that Swedish people were living in some kind of ghetto, or what you say, community, where they spoke Swedish. The next language they learned was Germany, because there was many German people. And now it's 3 generations later, then it's like in your case, you don't know your roots in Sweden. So it take 2-3 generations before you move in. So here you have Johannes Frisch. Here we have your person. And she says that Johannes ancestors is mostly in Värmlands parish, Färnebo, Gåsbo, Norra Råda and Ransätra. A map with the places are further back in the book. The numbers how the numbering system is. So he's number 1, he is number 2, and that's generation 1. So that's the son of him, I think. Or no, it's the other way around. This is the parents of Petter Olsson. So if you would like to go further back, I can add some of those people. Then we have 70, 74, 33, 75, 50. No, you're going forward again. He is born 1840. He's married 64 with Carolina Olsdotter, born 40. 1, born 98, married 32. This must be the father, and then you can see this is the patronymic. Pettersson, Petter is the father. Olsson, Olof is the father. Persson, Per is the father. So here you can go 5 more generations, and now it's getting difficult, I think, to prove everything. But now we are in 6089, dead 7033 in Tallåsen, Ransätra. And then we are back in 1654. And then you have just the death date, 1685. And then you have Bergsman. So, and Långban is a place in Sweden. Systematically mined 711 to 19, but that's traced from the 1500s. It's described most mineral-rich place in the world. Over 270 different minerals has been identified in the area, and more than 60 of these has Långban type locally. Most mining was done for so maybe the best thing is to read the Swedish and then use Google Translate or learn Swedish. So here you have the mining history, and this is Värmland, and it's up here then. So here you have the different places you mine. And I think this is the interesting thing, how people lived, how they, and so on. And life, what I'm learning more and more, and life was not easy. It was crazy tough. Why do I kill that? I don't know. So then you have, Johannes older things. And then what she says here, Johannes older, knowledge of his older families differ. And not so good further away you go. A lot of people worked in the mines. And if they worked in the mine, then you have special books. So what you see here is the church books and so on. What I have tried to do up here is that I add the parish, which is Grythyttan. In the parish, you have this församling, which is the religious division of Sweden and so on. And now we are at the National Archive, and then they said this is how it changed, which you don't have to learn. I don't understand half of it, and a place moved to another district and so on, and over time, and yeah. But this, if you click here, and I have a direct link, then you come to all archives connected to this area in Sweden. So if we say that we should just look on documents in Värmland, and then you have also people, but then you say you can look at what maps are available. You can, is this the English? Yeah, a lot of Swedish. And then we have records from the census. And then you have so here is a map. This is not scanned. So then you have to go to the archive and find. It's a map over blah 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 and so on. So it can be available. But now we did a search on Grythyttan, and as I saw, you have the people also in here, I think. So if you take away that, and then we have Värmland, and then we write Fisk. So then you get the information they have here. And this is indexed information, so that's easier to find. And this is your person, and this is from the census, and we have 3 or 4 census in Sweden which are indexed. So this is from 1900. Then he lived in, I think we have this record already up in Wiki3. Then he lived in Älvdalen. But he has his birth parish in Grythyttan. He worked as a worker. And the story they say in the books is that he was a railway worker. So if we go back to him, I also added a category rallare, and that's the Swedish word for it. So what he did was that he was carrying, he was working like this, and I think it's so tough work, and I think this is the thing to understand what they did. They were no, in Sweden we don't care about railways. We, what to say, don't maintain them anymore, and it's car and we take cargoes on cars. So this is tough. Well, what I had here also, which is I think magic, is Alfred Bengtsson. And this is 40 minutes done in 1976. And this person is meeting a person who left from Sweden to the States. Later. And this person, he went over to States, and it's so interesting to hear that the boat trip took 2 months or something like that. Then we came to the States and we have to wait for it and so on. And he was in the 1900s, so it must be in the same type of trip as Axel did. But it's magic to listen to him.
De sålde barn ibland.
Ja, där gjorde när jag gick i skolan.
Du blev inte såld?
Nej.
Here he explains that they were selling children. I should go back 1 second just to understand what he said.
För den tiden så sålde de ju stackar.
De sålde barn ibland.
Ja,
He's saying they are selling the children.
Du blev inte såld?
Nej.
And then he asked,
Och det var
were you
någon
sold?
artikel, så hon ville ju, det var en annan född mycket med i skolan, men det var så han klassade fram. Och hon började baka bröd.
The mother was
Och
baking
sina vallarna
bread.
kom här, där järnvägen, där gick ju åt bröd. Så bakade
And
de
then they
bröd,
have
och
all
de
those
kallade
railway
för
workers who passed by the
50
house.
års
Then he
dag.
was just a young child, so then he could sell
Och så
bread to
bodde
them.
fyra där hemma.
Vallare?
Ja, ja det var det, men det blev färdigt vid det schaktet. Så var det ett annat, så kom det ett annat lag. Så det var olika folk.
Var
Så
det
den-
stambanan
Nej,
byggdes?
det var
Then
med-
they
det
had
var
the
med-
railway workers living at home. So then maybe he learned that then he was a railway worker, then he went to the States. And it's really funny to listen to his Swedish English.
Jag måste.
Vem gav dig idén just till Kanada då?
So he went to Canada, like yours.
Då var det varit där förut. Då hjälpte ju dit andra. Då skickade de biljett. Och sen när de kommer hit så låt...
What he said, that other people have been there, so that's the reason he went there. So they sent over a ticket or something like that.
När de biljett, pengarna.
Åh,
Så
på
kom
det-
de ju här, så hjälpte de varandra.
på det viset.
Och jag har för mig biljetten till här från Malmö. Så fick de ju resa emigranter. Det var ju lite dyrt. Och då stod jag här vid Nordskatia.
So he went to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia? His English is maybe better than mine.
Ja,
Det var det samma pris.
samma pris.
Det var samma pris.
So it was the same price to go to the whole US.
Pengar till din resa.
Där fick jag ju av kamrater låna. Det här var ju så många som
He
var
got
hemma.
money from a friend. What I also learned
Låna pengar.
last day was that a lot of people in Sweden was startare. That means that you worked for a farmer, but you didn't get paid. You get food. So that means that you didn't have cash to go to buy a ticket.
Låna då. Och där, jag har för mig biljetten kostade 220 kronor.
The ticket costs 120 Swedish.
Maten på Atlanten och genom England och Danmark. Och så ska vara 90 kronor i landstigningspengar.
And you had to pay 90 kronor to go land in the States.
Det hjälper det varandra. Det är många som inte har det i kronor. Så stod de där bakom så skulle de visa den sidan. Så var det en annan.
Så det var samma pengar.
De visste det nog. Men
Det var samma pengar.
ja, men de visste det nog. Men de ville ha det. Huvudsaken var friska.
Ja. Hur var livet ombord på båten? Hur lång tid
How was life on the boat?
Ja, så nu reste vi. Jag reste från Malmö.
He went from Malmö
Över till Köpenhamn.
to Copenhagen.
Och inget här för Sverige. Inga,
It's the south of Sweden.
inga passagerarbåt. Det var Skandinavien och Amerikalinjen. Vi gick ut för Köpenhamn. Och sen så låg vi över där för
So they stayed one night in Copenhagen.
Så låg jag på hotell och där har vi fri mat. Det gick ingen biljett.
And then the food was
Sen
free.
genom Köpenhamn till Esbjerg. Där kom vi på båten över Nordsjö.
Then we took to another place in Copenhagen, in
Där var
Denmark.
det lite långare och då tog ju paus så många, det var ju emigranter så det var ju så. Och så när de stod på båten där så tittade de på och då stod på. De skulle bara visa sina pass. Ja, eller papper. Jag hade inte en prästebetyg. Och sen sorterade de ut. Så då så var ångar och sådär, då tvingade ner lastrum.
The young people had to be under deck, what to say.
Det var många som hade familj och då fick ju med det lastrummet.
So they were sitting where you have the cargo.
Det var skum, men vi kom ner för trappen där. Vi var där var stökigt och det var ljuset och det döda. Så bort i hörn i ändan på båten, det var hästar där.
And then they had horses and so on the same where they were sleeping
Där låg vi.
on the boat.
Ja, där kan det inte vara här. Så gick jag på det. Och där skulle servera de mat och på det.
And then they got food on the deck.
Det var ärtsoppa.
And what's pea soup.
Sen var vi på däcket den natten. Ja, jag minns inte hur många timmar det tog för. Det var ofödd, ja, det var väl ända bort med paradis.
Ja.
Så gick det. Men det var ju en bra ångare.
Hur lång tid tog den resan från England till den amerikanska
Till
kontinenten?
Halifax, ja. Det var väl 8 dygn.
8 days to go from England to US.
Hade du varit på sjön tidigare?
He has never been on the sea before.
Hur klarade du det? Blev du
Jag
sjösjuk?
var inte sjösjuka minst.
Var du inte det?
Vi har dukat artikel.
Gungade det mycket?
Ja, Nordsjöna gånger men det har jag inte gjort. Ja, och sen när vi kom i land där i Halmstad så var det ju ceremonier där var jag så la vi i Liverpool. Där la vi ett par, 3 dygn.
And in Liverpool in England they had to stay for 2-3 days.
Ja, och då gav jag ut precis när det kom. Och där gick vi i Liverpool i 3-4 dygn.
Du kom in på det här med Kanada nyss när vi talade om sång. Du sa någonting om att du lärde dig... Du antydde att du lärde någon sång.
A song he learned in Canada.
Jo, det var ju den där precis när vi kom där på båten. Där på båten över Atlanten.
Vad var det för visa?
Det var det jag ihåg, emigrantvisan.
The emigration song.
Och så var vi ju svenska eller här. Så var det farväl Moder Svea.
Bye bye Sweden.
Där stod vi på däcket och sjöng det.
Ja. Med tårar i ögonen?
Ja, det kommer jag inte ihåg. Det kan nog hängt.
He asked if he was crying, but he didn't think. You didn't think so much.
Ja, det var det jag sjöng nu. Farväl.
But it's crazy. So I think this is maybe in the same period as Axel Fisk.
Här är en som har en hel familj med.
Ja,
Var det vanligt att man hade familj med?
Ja, det var ju
So this is pictures from his part when he was over in the States. And here
Ja,
is
det här sa han, men jag hade velat lämna det för en sån konfus. Ja, det är ju...
some Canadian Pacific Railway ticket. So I think for me this part is magic. If we walk through the book, then you have a lot of stories about everyone, but as she said, it's in Swedish. But then you came the crazy part, I think. No, then Anna Jansson. So this is the youngest, I think, the fourth child, born 1873. Name Anna Sofia and so on. And here you have Anna Jansson with 6 children. Here you have Axel Fisk. And that's your one. So he took the military service at Göta Livgarde. I saw a comment like that, but I was not 100% sure. They told Axel that he, after his military was going to marry his girlfriend, Hulda Nilsson i Spjutsjöfallet, who was also the mother to their children Hildur. So Hildur was born 1897 before marriage, as he was in Stockholm. But Hilda's parents was not approving the marriage, as Hulda had a child with another man. Axel then went to Gåsvarv, and that's what we see in the household books, where he worked building railways from Mora to Älvdalen. In Gåsvarv he met Johanna Eriksson. So then he has one child from another marriage then, and married with her 1900. So this is Johanna. And he emigrated in 1902 to North America. They came first to Minnesota, and they moved up to Canada. And Canada, I think her father went to. And lived in the wild area of South Ontario called McCrossan. So that's maybe something you know much better than me. Near the border to the States. And Axel's target uppmärkt, which means I think that he came to a place where no one else has been, and then he started doing farming. Johanna stayed in Gåsvarv until 1903, and I think one of those pictures we have seen was when she was still in Sweden and he in the States. And then they had 2 children, Helmer, Albert. 2 förstfödda barn, Helmer. Her parents and 2 sisters, Maria and Clara. Johanna's family, no one was staying in Gåsvarva. The 5 other sisters had died during growing up. Nils Erik Larsson, he's in Wikipedia, and Marit Ersdotter was in the 60s when they did the long trip. They lived many years in the new country. Erik until 1918, Marit to 1923. Axel was one of the first new builders, what to say. who started farming in this new area near Lake of the Woods in Ontario. The society that was built called Bergland. And I think Marta spoke about another book in her email. So then you have a book about Bergland. Here he got a land of 160 acres next to some water, who was called Fisk Creek. The water was ran out in little grassy river with in Lake of the Woods. The house they built, they had to move to a better place next to the river. Axel had a steamship, so he could have it next to the house. So the house was put down in pieces and built up again. That was 1924, and during that time they lived in an old barn. The boat was used 1905 to 1930. So here is Axel, Johanna, Wilde Schilmer, Helmer, Albert, Alfred, and Murray. The house with all its houses and what to say, where you farm the land, they did by hard work. They started with 2 empty hands and did a nice house with a timber house, I think you say in English, who still is there. A big farm with, I don't understand English, Swedish English, and then you have where you do tools from iron tools. They have sheep, chickens, food, where you have fish and you can smoke it, kitchen for the summer, harbor for the boat, bridge over the river for the cattle. 1904, more Swedish came to Bergland, and after that Axel has went to the Swedish Society Warren in Minnesota, where he said this area was good. In the beginning he earned his money by selling timber and massaved. I think that's timber which is not as good. When he opened more areas of land, took away the trees, he had a farm, so he could get the food for the family. All food was produced for the farm, and he could sell something. So he sold the lamb on the east, and then he had fishing and hunting. As dragdjur, ox, instead of a car. He had one ox called King and one called Jack. They were used in the farm and in the wood. And the first one was bought 1910. On 1907 he paid $75 for Jack, which was a lot of money at that time. Axel could work on the farm and his forest, I don't know what to call the English, in many years with his big oxes. But when they were sick and died, he instead bought a pair of horses. 2 of the children was born in Sweden. In Bergland was 6 more children born. 2 girls who was buried after birth, one 1904, the other 1910. Year 1980 to 1919. You had a sickness called spanska sjukan, which is the 1918 flu pandemic. And a lot of the inhabitants in Bergland got sick. Also Axel, he was really sick and had to go to Rainy River at the border to the States. But there was no place on the on the hospital, and he had to be in a hotel in the city. Johanna went with him and was over a week and sitting next to him. And he lost 24 kilo, 48 pounds or something like that. In the end of 1920, Axel bought an old car of a doctor in Fort France. Axel never learned to drive the car. It was mostly inside, inside the house. And later you took parts of it and built the first tractor we used for farming. 1938, he went back to Sweden. He did this trip alone, and Johanna stayed on the farm and took care of the house. And they say, så for han ensam. Morsan Johanna stannade ju hemma och tog care utav sina kor. För det följer ju alltid på henne att mjölka korna bland annat. Jo, mor hade ett arbetsamt liv. The excuse was that she has to take care of the cows. And that was the son said in 1990. In Sweden, Axel met his sister and sister's children. He also went up to Älvdalen. That's the place he moved to. And met his old girlfriend Hulda in Spjutsjöfallet i Grytö. Och inte... Nej, he didn't meet his old girlfriend and never met his daughter Hildur. And what they said was that Hulda, when Axel was there, was on her deathbed. They told that Axel was enormous strong. He worked starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he went up cooking coffee, and then he was drinking it on on the plate. Can you say so? He normally was singing Swedish songs. His daughter Annie remember O du saliga, O du heliga. Johanna also brukar get a coffee in bed by Axel. And then she went up and did pancakes for breakfast. Johanna was singing and playing a guitar. Especially the son Helmer learned many Swedish songs to listen to Johanna. Some of the Axel's letter to his sister are still kept. In a letter to sister Anna in February 1939, Axel told about the life. The daily life here is the same as you has. There, you go up in the morning, go out to the farm and take care of the cow shit. And then you'd have the calves and cows and chickens and the day after the day. In a letter to his youngest sister, Maria, 1935, he told that all the children were home to Christmas and had his 8 grandchildren with him. And it was 28 grandchildren in Canada. From year 1938, there is a letter written by Axel to Maria where he was thanking for thanking for that they met in Sweden. He was traveling by boat and he has been seasick during the trip. And they had a fire. So they were they were surrounded by fire, but it started to rain. 22 people was killed in the fire. In a letter to his sister 1940, Axel writes, men hur det går för er hemma. He's worried about the people home in Sweden and the Russian. Then you have the Second World War. Speaking about birds and so on. The last letter has been saved from Axel is when he wrote to his sister on 3rd of December 1952. I said he's not so good health. He's aching in the back. Here maybe the latest picture of him. And his nose is what you call snoring or what to say. I don't know. But they are still can walk around and are on the farm. He also have sheep. Anna David has been at our place in the summer. They come here over here and fish. They are nice. But when he tells that he should go back to Sweden, say hello, then he say no, I will never go there anymore. I hope you get a good Christmas with fish, porridge and drinking alcohol. Sorry that I can't be part of your. And I remember the Christmas we had when I was a child at Hällsjön. When at spring, then I start to remember the time. And here I Wonder Hearts with Anna and you. The 16th May 1955, he was died at home. It came suddenly, heart attack. Daughter Annie remembered the night to Monday and that he had guests before. Johanna lived 9 more years. She died in a hospital in Rainy River. Axel and Johanna's farm is owned by the family, but is not. No one lives at it. They had a reunion in 2002, and before that they did a cleaned it. What do you say? Took away grass and so on. So this is 1986, the house. Here is the children of Axel, Hildur, Helmer, Albert, Mary, Alfred, and that's yours. 4th May 1908, 1930, he was married by Minnie Barnard, a sister to Flossie Barnard, who was married with Alfred's brother Helmer. Alfred and Minnie got 4 children. They worked at different tourist places in Nestor Falls. Alfred, who was a guide, and Minnie as cooking food. They lost their home in a fire in 1937, built a tourist place in Ena Lake, who they were taking care of in 39 years. The fire who was destroying their home, Axel Fisk brought in a home to sister. His house burned up and everything except some clothes to the bed when he was running out. His wife had got a child, so she was still in bed. It was 7 days after she got the child, and she has to go up and go 2 kilometers to the next house. It was farlig ofärd. Yeah, they are tough, the English women. Theodore, born 11/1913. Teddy, Annie, born 36. And then you have Axel here. So then you have, this is the crazy thing. So this is table number 1 and you are number 122. So here you have Hilder and then you have Albert. No? Albert born Gåsvarven. He is born in Bergland. So Anna is born over there. Vendela. Then you see, look at table 58. Alfred, table 1 to 2. That's your. And so on. So then it's 122 tables. And then if you go, this is table 4, table 9, table 12, and so on. I didn't pick, I think we have in the movie 122. I didn't understand really who was your relative. But it's crazy. Maybe we have it here. 103. No, it's in the movie here. 123 here, you see. It's Roger Fisk Cleo, born 31 in Bergland, Canada, died 98, 4th of January, married 55, with Ann Pybak. Children Roger Allan Fisk, Marianne Fisk, Theodore Fisk, and Canada. Then you have table 124.
So next part. My understanding is...
And then 124 is Marianne Fisk, born 1958, to have Dennis and so on.
That we have Cleo.
Dennis, Priscilla.
Is related to you.
So this is what you have in the book. But I think it's worth having it. And it's a magic document. And if you would like to go to... What I should do is to mark the places you have in the States so you can go and visit it, and other people can go there. I use the Wikitree stuff. Then I document the places in something called free space pages. The cool thing with Wikitree is other people can use it and read it. So then you have something called free space page list, and then I have, for example, a place in Möklinta. Then I put the coordinates in there and describe where the place is and so on. So then you can go like this, and then you jump directly to the place, and then you can use a phone to locate the place, but that's also a challenge. There it is. And if you take the... now I kill it. But Street View, then you can see the house and so on. Good luck. Now I maybe don't do so much more with this. I will buy the book and read it, because I like learn a lot about this Värmland stuff.